You.
All right, welcome back to the refill. I'm your host, Seville, Illa, whatever you want to call me. We're here with Reggie and Dr. Debauchery himself, calling from the cave, calling from the sand dunes where they found Saddam. After they evicted that guy, this guy moved in. He got nothing in there but a iPhone and a sex doll.
Like you saying something about getting your body done, bro.
What do you think about doing?
I don't want to talk about it.
I recommend we have an intervention link. You ain't got to do that, son. You got to accept yourself, man. Love yourself.
God. It's a penis reduction.
Listen, man, whatever you're doing to your doctor and strangers in your own time is your business. I'm talking about you getting your body done, brother.
Look, fellas,
why you trying to bring up this other stuff?
I'm sorry you ain't never pulled the hammer out and the girl said you ain't putting that in me, Reds. I'm sorry you never heard that before.
But why are you pulling hammers out on girls?
Because I'm bringing the 90s back, son.
Like
on everything.
Like
I'm bringing back toxic masculinity.
He's talking about.
You mean like a literal like hammer?
It's just jammy. He's talking about his jammy.
No.
I would rather.
You about to get canceled, Link. You can't talk like.
I don't give a fuck.
And speaking of cancel culture,
I'm tired of this shit. The pendulum about to swing, boys.
Listen, you
be on the
Link. It's not the
right out of history. We the motherfuckers who built this shit. There's no gender wage pay gap. Fuck that shit. I'm gonna call you what you was born as. I'm not going no more.
Y'all think
Cosby
he
got out, so
y'all think he innocent? Y'all think
Link
Cosby
about
innocent?
To be on his bullshit because Cosby out. Link, they'll still lock your ass up, bro.
Y'all think he innocent?
No.
So
innocent.
No, he's not.
I mean, after the Mark Lamont Hill interview, I think it's worth discussing.
Cosby is not innocent, bro. He got off on legal technicality. They made.
Did you watch the Mark Lamont Hill interview?
Who with Judge Joe Brown?
Joe Brown.
He got off on a legal technicality.
Okay.
So in that instance, the law has checks and balances, and it just so happened that this one check and balance kind of, ended up letting him get out, letting him go free.
They got caught up. They tried to bury my guy, but
nah, it ain't that cut and dry. It ain't that cut and dry.
Let's debate
because now we're gonna say
they used evidence that was inadmissible. They used evidence that was inadmissible
it ain't that cut and dry.
Because some of the evidence they used was part of a separate situation where they gave him immunity. And then they used it in the case.
They tried to bury him off of public opinion. That's what happened.
Basically.
That's the veneer surface of it. Now, look, let me ask you, because I watched that Judge Joe Brown interview. He made some good points, man. He said, listen.
Very good points.
Very solid points. He was like, how could you, indict someone that he didn't force the drugs on? They asked for it. They got drunk, felt bad about it, tried to sue the guy.
I don't think that's what happened.
What happened?
What?
Expound, my friend.
So
I don't think that was happening. Like he was right there snorting coke off a white bitch's titties. I was giving him permission. And Cosby was one of them. I don't think that's what happened. What are you talking about?
Reggie was like, "Go Bill, go Bill."
I'm good.
All right, so
I don't snort white stuff. And with Link, you got to be specific because you got to ask him specifically what white stuff. Because Link will talk about snorting white stuff, and I'll be like, "You do cocaine?" And he'd be like, "No, I don't do cocaine." What were you talking about?
Oh my God.
I want to do cocaine before I die, though. One bump, one little bump.
I'm sure.
Boy, want to party?
Yeah, he's a
party.
So
want a party?
So tell me your perspective. Tell me your perspective of the Cosby.
Listen,
go ahead.
At the end of the day, listen. If I go out drinking with a girl, right?
Okay.
And she's drunk.
She gets drunk.
Legally, she cannot give me her consent.
Okay.
In certain states.
Wait. Wow.
Finish.
In certain states.
This nigga has a daughter, bro. Look, listen.
I do, and this is what I would be telling her.
That's a fact.
Ask my sister. Like, I got my sister high.
But the idea that somehow women have to accommodate men so they don't get assaulted is crazy.
What about us though? Reggie, you've been in college, bro. You see, you know them dorm parties.
So
that got a little. Hold on, let me finish my point. You know them dorm parties got a little crazy, and girls done got a little friskier. And whether we wanted them or not. What about us though? We all drunk.
What you're saying is you have so little self-control that you need a girl to protect you from yourself.
Hold on.
That's what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
He said that's exactly what he's saying.
All right, let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask both of y'all a question.
Yeah, bitch, you bring the condom because if you don't.
Look, let me ask both of y'all. Look, listen,
Splash brother.
Is it rape if she's
We can't say that word. We can't say that word.
We can't say rape?
Can we say okay, that assault word. Is it assault? There you go. If she's inebriated and she can't really tell you yes, but she went there with you. But listen, let's say you was fondling her breast beforehand, and then she just happened had a little bit too much douce, and it kind of just took her out. So
if I'm sober enough to recognize that she is drunk, she cannot give me, even if she's like, yeah, let's do it, then you're inebriated. Your judgment
is impaired.
So am I. So am I. I'm inebriated too.
But you're still in a place where you could recognize that she's inebriated.
Who's to say that though?
Okay, Link.
It wasn't. Why does it fall on us to say whether or not how inebriated she is without a breathalyzer?
Nigga, because I don't want to go to jail. So, anyways. But I mean, you might be more comfortable there because I mean, there's activities there that's more suited to your lifestyle.
Like what? What do they do there? You heard?
The penis reductions you do. Listen, so the idea that you're going to have someone who's impaired, she can't sign contracts. She can't pull up and sign a contract drunk. No one's going to accept that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Neither can I.
So
neither can we.
All right. So my point is, and it's still rape if it's a dude, but what I'm saying, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a woman. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Even if you guys are in the act of having sex, even if you're already fucking and halfway through, she's like, you know what? I don't want to do this no more. The next stroke after she says stop is rape.
I agree with that. I actually do agree with that.
Okay.
Because
after she said stop, you take one more pump, you raped her.
But if she's not saying, no,
you assaulted her.
I penetrate. You know what I mean? And she's drunk as shit. I'm drunk as shit. Why else do we go for dinner and drinks if not to get drunk and fuck?
Once she's rescinded your
This is a comedy podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I just want you to
know. Once she's rescinded her invitation to her body, you don't get to decide.
Absolutely. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the moment we're in the room or the couch or whatever, and both people are drunk.
I feel you, Link. I agree with you, but what I'm saying is, if you don't want to go to jail, then that's just it. That's it. There's no debate. Legally, if you don't want to get locked up, that's what it is.
Oh, that's if she says. That's if she rescinds.
But nothing could happen, and we still would get locked up. Our reputations could still get smeared if we tongue kissed viciously, and she went and said that we tried something we didn't do, or we did something. I mean, it's a lose-lose for dudes, and we just gotta that's why so many dudes is not even talking to women nowadays.
Yeah,
for a lot of these reasons.
Link. I'm definitely that's definitely the reason you're swearing off women. Listen,
I didn't swear them off.
Yeah, I mean whatever. Whatever you like.
I just hate fuck them.
Yeah. Okay.
So listen, right? So where does the line? Who decides the line as far as
women?
It's arbitrary. Nobody.
Women. It's their bodies. They decide what they're comfortable going in or not going in their bodies.
But there's the caveat though, the inebriation part. You're getting high. We got to throw that in there. It's cut and dry if we're both just
afterwards,
sober,
when she sobers up and she decides that, you know what, I'm thinking about it now, and I really didn't give him permission because I didn't want to do that.
That's a slippery slope, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. You set yourself up for that because she can go to a hospital. Yeah. They could take her blood toxicity or whatever. Say, okay, well, she was drinking, and then they'll do the rape kit and say, well, she did get fucked and she was drunk, Ipso facto, you're guilty.
All right, so let's talk in retrospect, because that's a recent law, right? I'm not a big law person. That's a recent law, correct?
That's always been there, but socially, it wasn't something that women really did. It's always been a thing. Legally, like, if someone's impaired, 60s, they don't have judgment.
60s, 70s, 50s?
I don't know the dates, but legally, someone that's impaired can't make
But I asked
decisions.
that to say, beforehand, before this came into play, did anybody look at it that way? Was it like
because I mean you have what's legal and then you have the social rules. Same way that you could be innocent but still condemned socially. Like it's sort of like that. The court of public opinion.
I don't want to, because this is a gray area. But again, I'm always gonna play the advocate. Right? I'm gonna try to play it today, right? Hey, Link, I'm talking to you too. As a matter of fact, Reggie, because Reggie, let's say you a female. Mm-hmm. You like my.
That's easy enough.
I can't play again.
Let's say I got you. But look, let's just say the scenario. You're a chick. You fuck with Motley Crue. You love them. You go through the groupie entrance. Everybody know what a groupie is. Everybody know what a groupie is there for. You don't go through the regular fans to get a regular signature. Now you go. I'm going through the groupie interest. You're getting security letting you in. You already know what's going on back there. People partying, they doing the sugar booger, all that. You know what I'm saying? They getting
110%.
tooted, all that. Everybody effed up. So, and then one of them pull a jammy out. They pull a hammer out, like Link would say. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And you kind of, everybody's high. You're there for that. But let's say you just wake up and you feel bad. You have, you're remorseful about it. You could just go and just claim rape. Why did you go there?
You could basically, the reason you can't say that to a degree is people could claim things like coercion and implications and so on and so forth. So like if I'm alone with a girl, right, and I pull whatever out and she's sitting there, after the fact she could basically be like, well, the reason I engaged and didn't say no is because I was afraid. He's a man. I was alone with him. I'm bigger. I'm stronger. I would rather give in and get away than to get into a fight. I was afraid, and that's a reality though. To a degree.
That's like going to,
especially if you're in a position of power. Or whatever.
But that's like going to a sex party, one of these little sex parties, and there's drugs around, and then
I get the logic, but what I'm just saying is we're living in a space, and that's how the pendulum swings. You know what I mean? We were living in a space where there was almost no repercussions for doing fuck shit. Mm-hmm. There were dudes I knew in college who would put fucked up shit in girls' drinks, take them back to their dorms.
But that's conniving.
I know, but what I'm saying is take him back, fuck, clip, do whatever he wants to do, and then go about life like nothing happened. Yeah, and Shorty would just walk it off. Charge it to the game and walk it off. So now the pendulum's swinging in the other direction where, there's going to be some, unfortunately, there's collateral damage. I think when the dust settles, it's going to end up somewhere more reasonable because it's not where it was before. The Me Too movement died down. It's not as crazy and ridiculous because it got to the point where people were complaining about bad dates
social media is powerful,
and dumb shit. Yeah. So people move on. That's the other thing about social media. People are fickle. People are outraged about something one day, and then next week they're outraged about a whole new thing.
It's that mob-like mentality. It's just like with the picket. Yeah. Trying to flame these, smoke these witches out. Like
women have more recourse, and women feel more empowered to speak out about certain things. And if this situation makes certain guys, give certain actions a second thought, that's even better. I got daughters. Like I don't want them to live in a world where you got to walk it off.
But I agree with that. Let me just add to that. I also believe that we got to teach these little youngins, especially the chicks, like, listen, stop. Don't get. Why would you go there? If you go there, be mindful that you may end up in a situation that you're gonna regret. Why would you go? Why would you purposefully go to a party where they getting high? Fucking, it's a sex party. Like, why is you there?
Playing devil's advocate, 9 times out of 10, people say, okay, well, I'm gonna talk to my daughter and tell her this, but you don't hear very often, well, I'm gonna talk to my son and tell him this is how. Like, you don't hear a lot of people talk about, like, I'm just gonna raise my son to not do fucking skeevy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
I don't really think. I mean, you can try your best, but once that puberty kick in, once that horniness kick in, you know what I mean? And he felt it before. There's some outside pressure involved. I mean, it really depends on his personal character.
You know who Lank Hero was? The kid who played Bullethead, and Steve Harvey, who also starred in that movie Kids. When I think it was Shorty fell asleep, he took.
You wildin', bro.
That's your hero. That's how you sound right now.
Nah, not even.
Yeah. Hey, not even. You heard about the president in Haiti, Reggie?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Y'all think it was
that's
somebody playing
thing.
dirty ball, you think?
Bro, that was definitely an inside job. Like low key, like the thing I love about that whole situation, and I don't love, like, don't take that the wrong way, but everybody's talking about, oh well, the assassin spoke Spanish. Duh. Of course. Like if I'm a Spanish assassin, do you think I'm going to walk there and announce that I speak Spanish? That shit's obviously to throw niggas off.
That was the underlay for the overplay.
Yeah, like, of course you have it's Haiti. What the fuck is anyone in there speaking Spanish for? Yeah. If not to basically, I'm gonna talk Spanish so that niggas in there could someone overheard the Spanish, and then that's a clue to throw investigators off for. Yeah. Bro, that shit was the illest setup. Niggas knew what was going on.
I'm hearing rumors. I don't want to say certain things. YouTube a little bit sensitive, but they're saying certain big countries that might be big.
It's not a big country. You have the opposition who hated this guy. There's been like months and months of like
gang wars,
gang stuff, like gang leaders, people sending personal attacks, all that. Bro, there's no country, and I mean, I'm not gonna say I know better than anybody else or whatever, but you have to think about it. What country is going to start an international incident over something as trivial as who's president of Haiti? When, regardless of who the president is, he's going to basically give in to whatever the country wants. Regardless of who's in the position.
That's actually a really good point.
Regardless of who's in a position, they get what they want. So they don't give a fuck who's there. Mm-hmm. The only person that gives a fuck is the opposition or whoever, because democracy is fired until your team loses.
Yeah. I sent Link a clip earlier, like, I don't know if you knew the history. Like, it's just a quick summarization. It's like ever since the revolution, Haiti freed themselves from slavery. It's just like, it seems like everything's been against Haiti. Like no one is wants this. I don't want to say no one, right? But it's like a force that won't let this country, my parents' country, your parents' country, be prosperous in any way, shape, or fashion. It's just this. Like even when I heard it, like it was fucked up. But I'm like, remember I text you, like I was like, I'm unsurprised. Like it just, I'm unsurprised. Like since I was a kid, I've been hearing it. My parents been. It's just. I don't know if it's ever gonna turn around, but one person was saying, like in the clip I sent you, like it's just like they're gonna, if you're gonna free yourself, that whoever the high ups are, they're like, if you're gonna free yourself, then listen, if you don't want to be enslaved by us, we're gonna make sure you're tortured. We're gonna make sure that you're living underneath poverty for the next decades or so. You know what I mean? Centuries.
The problem is the way Haiti is set up. There's no checks and balances. At the end of the day, no foreign country can come into your country, especially at this point, and tell you what to do without express permission.
But why is that? What's up? Why?
Without express permission of certain people already in said country. Right. So when people are talking about like, oh, like, you know, Haitians have issues with Hillary Clinton or the Clintons or whatever, so on and so forth. Hillary Clinton could have just walked into Haiti and start telling niggas what to do. Like someone had to give her the green light and get a bag to give whatever. At some point, Haitians have to stop sabotaging Haitians.
Yeah.
Someone has to love the country enough to not get elected for personal gain. But it's such a poor country. 9 times out of 10, whatever leader gets elected is coming from poverty. Like shit's skinny. Like if I get elected and I'm poor and now I automatically have access to hundreds of millions of dollars, like what the fuck do you think I'm gonna do? The same thing everyone before me did, do some fuck shit, put my friends in a position to get bread, fuck around as long as I can, because that's the game. How long can I stay in office so I could steal as much as possible or finesse as much as possible before I get kicked out and the next nigga plays the same game?
They even try to take out the first lady. If I'm correct, somebody correct. She's in South Florida right now. She's in the hospital.
The first lady?
She got shot wounds.
Someone said she died. I'm not sure if she actually died. I don't know what's going on.
I'm almost certain she's in a hospital in South Florida.
Well, hopefully she survives and she's okay.
Yeah, still in all. That's a egregious act.
And then the idea that the president of any country can be assassinated at night in his home,
in his bed
is like outrageous.
They did it while he was asleep, huh?
Listen, where was your security at? Where was security? Yeah. You're supposed to have redundancies upon redundancies, and it's not like, oh well, we don't have a budget and it's Haiti or whatever, bro. It's guns are cheap and labor is cheap. Like paying guys with guns, like I'm sure he had like OD security. If security wasn't present and you didn't hear a report of there was a big shootout. Yeah. One dude got shot. Yeah. No security got shot. Yeah. No one was shooting. There was no.
Hey, that was some Sicario shit.
Bro, come on. This shit sounded like niggas pulled up, niggas stepped aside because they already knew what it was and they didn't want no static, and it was just like, handle your handle.
It's gonna be talked about for a little while,
bro. Like if there should be some type of like investigation into that, because regardless of whether he was wrong or right, there can't be a situation where you can just walk up and murder a head of state and just there are no consequences, because it sets a bad precedent.
If it's Haiti, sad to say.
It sets a bad precedent.
I don't agree with that.
There has to be a what's it called? Because now you'd have to be a fucking idiot.
Who does that fall on? Haiti? Or are you saying like
I would say once
somebody has to intervene.
I would say the international community at that point is sort of like you're dealing with children. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you guys are assassinating heads of state and this country falling into turmoil becomes problematic for the region, because once there's no one even knows who's in charge right now or who's president or whatever. Yeah. Shit like that opens doors to all types of like we don't know who's gonna pull up and do anything. So you're creating a situation where now the United States, who's like the big boy in this area, has to kind of step in and say, listen, like we gotta figure all this out.
They asked Biden too. He gave his response was like, that was something along the lines like that's sad, that's messed up.
But the United States are the ones who supported Moïse staying in office in the first place.
Right.
So I would imagine at some point, like they would have to intervene if you supported his presidency and him being in office and him being assassinated. Like at some point, the United Nations, someone's going to look into something. Yeah.
So what do you think?
Do you think so? Because of somebody? Do you think they'll keep it locally? Because if somebody assassinates, let's say our president, which we've had presidents assassinated and assassination attempts as early as the 70s, like. We handle it in state. It's not low, it's not no big ordeal or, it's not international conspiracy or anything like that. JFK they say was, but they also say it was the mob.
But you gotta think about one. As far as JFK's thing, like I think that was just a poor security scenario because you just have the president riding around in a topless vehicle in an open field where there's just mad buildings and open angles. It just wasn't smart in regards to security. Like I don't know whose idea that was.
You don't think it was internal?
The JFK thing, I can't say yes or no. What I'm just saying is if someone's going to kill you, make the job as difficult as possible. I'm not riding around in a topless.
It was a snafu on security.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. Because there's no way to secure anything unless you have security on the rooftop of every building, snipers everywhere. Bro, there's no way you could get anywhere near the president of the United States right now. There's no way. And there's no country that could step in and investigate because it's the United States.
Yeah.
Like, we're the big guy. Like, who's going to come in and say, well, we think you just tell them shut the fuck up. Like, come on, man. Like, go somewhere. We're the bully, so you can't really step in and tell us what to do.
That's a good point Link made, though. To your point about, listen, if you're assassinating head of states, then listen, it's going to shake everybody up.
And it's going to destabilize the region. We got to figure out what's going on with y'all. We let y'all do your own thing till y'all start wilding out. You got to think about it like if we all live in an apartment complex together, You could do whatever you want in your apartment till like shit starts leaking over to the next apartment.
But HOA gonna come.
Yeah, it's like somebody's gonna knock at the door and say, "Listen, man, y'all niggas is wildin'. We gotta come in and look at what's going on."
Unless they have something to do with it.
Niggas still no one had, bruh.
You see your girl Sha'Carri.
Yeah,
I'm saying her name right. She got popped.
Yeah, she got popped, left off the whatchamacallit.
Yeah. Smoking that Zaza.
We got Link is celebrating. I'm gonna let Link talk. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Link.
Thank you, mon frere. Yeah, so last week we on the back of Bonnetgate with Monique, where we talked about our image as African Americans, and then black people, and then black people's image, the diaspora in America. You know, then from there we talked about Sha'Carri, and I brought up her hair, tattoos, and nails in terms of our image, right? The comments, you know what I mean? A bunch of people was leaving comments. I mean, it was still it was almost split, but it was more or less like, yeah, it is an image. It is a discussion to have about image. And then I made not to, kind of like, say I told you so, but I made a comment when you asked me, was it a color thing, black or white? And I went down a rundown of descriptions of people, regardless of what color, of how I would view them in terms of image, and I said they probably is on drugs or had drug problems or eating disorders or promiscuous or whatever like that. Then with literally 3 days later, she gets caught breaking the rules, and I want to veer off into that too, but she gets caught breaking the rules, smoking marijuana. A black girl, tatted up, not the best English, orange hair, 7-inch fingernails, smoking weed and fucking herself out of a gold medal. I'm saying the image that I just, without even knowing because I can't predict the future, the image that I perceive from a person that presents themselves this way, some of the tropes and stereotypes prove themselves to be true by her actions 3 days after we had the conversation.
You'll never get a phone number where you talking like.
Yo, Link. So first of all, like let's first of all put everything in context.
Please, let's do that.
She broke no laws. Let's start with that.
She didn't break any laws. She broke the rules of the Olympics.
Like I understand that you're used to having your mouth going. Like I just give it a rest for a second.
I don't know what that is even supposed to mean.
Listen, man, it means whatever you want it to mean, bro. Like,
this guy's trying to flirt with me, bro.
Wow, you've been spending.
This guy made a pass at me.
You've been spending too much time.
Hey, you need to relax, brother.
You've been spending too much time down south, man.
Listen, my brother.
Speak.
Yo, so first of all, her mother just died. She didn't break any laws. Where it happened, it was legal. Her mother just died. Like, she was self-medicating. Unfortunately, it was against the rules. Now, she broke the rules. Agreed.
I didn't even know her mother died.
Unfortunately, it was against the rules. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so unfortunately, it's against the rules.
Why is it unfortunate that it was against the ruals? You just went through this whole diatribe of consent, and it's a woman's right, and them feeling safe, and they get to make the call on whether sex is the R word or not. And then now it's unfortunate that she broke the rules.
If I can finish my sentence, and why it sounds.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir. I apologize.
Why does it sound like you're talking about peanut butter in your mouth? Bro.
Go off, sis.
All right. Wow.
Go off, sis.
Listen.
I'm listening, champ.
So, when the rules were made, the idea that anything marijuana related was like dubious was like it was made up. These were racist laws, racist rules to basically.
Oh my God!
In the Olympics?
Yes, like just globally. Like 9 times out of 10, when you're looking at marijuana, it traditionally comes from brown countries.
Okay.
And then the United States created rules around marijuana that basically ended up being implemented like globally because we have like that type of influence.
Okay.
Anyways,
that's wrong. even from my limited knowledge. But I want you to finish your point, and I'll rebuttal.
You just said you have limited knowledge, but then you're going to tell me it's wrong.
That's a good point.
All right, smooth move.
Fair. I have an opinion, though.
Smooth. Excellent.
Shut your dumb ass.
Yeah. So, anyways. Yes, she's going to be penalized. It's not going to stop her from winning. Like, obviously, she's young. She has a long career ahead of her. Nike didn't drop her. She's still getting to the bag. So, I mean, it's all good. But the rules should change because you have athletes that use cannabis in ways to basically,
Heal.
like, take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And not just CBD. Like, so when you look at throwback, I don't know if you guys used to watch wrestling, Rob Van Dam was kicked out of the WWE for this whole cannabis snafu. And he said he smoked because it was a better alternative to opioids. Now,
Ricky Williams from the Miami Dolphins also.
Yeah. So if you look at the deaths of all of these athletes and entertainers and performers and so on and so forth, a lot of it is tied to opioids. And if marijuana was decriminalized and made legal and it was an actual option instead of like the pharmaceutical drugs that do way more damage to your body and nervous system, a lot of these deaths could have been avoided. But you go.
True, but I mean, if we were to compartmentalize, like one thing don't have to do with another. You know what I mean? Going back to your point in terms of drugs and laws being racist, I mean, I think that is just like completely like off base because when you think about countries like Cambodia, where there's poppy that grows, but you can't even spit gum on the ground or chew gum is not even allowed in the country, let alone drugs. When you think about Thailand, they grow different, have different kind of exotic drugs there, and they're legal. When you think about like other countries, they because of what it does to the population, right? Because it feels like it dumbs down the population, or the negative effects it has on, you know what I mean, like the hospitals and stuff like that. People outlaw drugs. Like it don't have anything to do with racism. We didn't influence that. When cocaine was when they went from morphine to cocaine, and cocaine was put in Coca-Cola, and they saw that housewives were getting addicted to it, mostly white, they stopped putting actual cocaine inside of Coca-Cola.
Like laws,
just like the war on drugs right now, the opioid crisis, you know, versus the crack crisis, is because they noticed like the main group. I mean, an argument can be made, but for you to say that like, because she broke a rule is racist, I don't see how race plays a part in it. I gave this. Let me. I just want to finish the point real quick. I gave an example. If me and you were two different races and we were in a competition together, and I found that you broke the rules, just because I pushed for you, regardless of whether you were whatever race you were, alien, like if you broke the rules and I'm trying to do it like the honest way, then of course I'm gonna push for you to get kicked out the competition so that I can win, because I'm trying to do it clean and you try to do it dirty. They do it to the most notable sport that these punishments are handed down in is baseball, and baseball is majority Caucasian men that get these punishments handed down to them for not playing clean. It's not a racist thing. A rule is a rule, whether it be outdated, whether it be puritanical, whether it be like whether it should be made a law or not to be legal. That's a different argument. But for right now, the rule stands. You can't just agree to play the game but not play the game by the rules. That makes zero sense.
Let me ask y'all: do y'all think this is one of those situations where it's like, I think they let her run, right? They're gonna let her run.
Nah, they're not.
She got left off the squad, the relay squad.
I agree with Link. She broke the rules, so she has to adhere to the rules she broke.
I thought I saw a meme about her still running.
Nah,
that was a week ago.
Yo,
within the last couple of days, she was left off the relay squad.
She broke the rules. I understand them sticking to the rules and her not running. What I'm saying is it shouldn't have been a rule in the first place, and it should be changed in the future. And this is the reason why.
That's your takeaway. Okay.
And a lot of rules are built around race. Like the reason you get X amount of time for crack versus X amount of time for cocaine is because 9 times out of 10, if you're using crack, you look like this or you live here.
I concur.
Yes, but that's two different things, though.
No, it's not.
Reggie. You making a statement like it shouldn't be a rule in the first place. Like that's your opinion. Like then the whole statement of it shouldn't be a law of consensual adults.
Hemp was criminalized because of two things. One, because of where it's grown and black and brown people, and two, because the paper industry saw that it was cheaper than what they were producing, and the big paper industry basically influenced the government's stance on hemp and hemp products and so on and so forth. Like, feel free.
So what about prohibition? What about when we went through prohibition for almost 10 years?
What about it?
Was that racist as well?
No, it wasn't racist. And then they flipped prohibition. What do you mean, what's the difference? Because
you're saying it shouldn't have been to say that's just your opinion. For you to say something shouldn't be a rule in the first place, murder shouldn't be a rule. We should have one night to where we can all try to murder whoever we want to kill, and to get out some of our anger and frustration. That shouldn't be a law. Murder should be fine.
Marijuana is still legal. Alcohol kills way more people than marijuana does, and it's still illegal federally.
And in certain places, depending on how you kill someone, it's either murder, one, or manslaughter.
This episode is brought to you in part by Dare.
I'm just saying it's just super arbitrary to just say it shouldn't be a rule in the first place. And I agree, but it is, though. It is a rule.
So what's your takeaway, Mike? What's your takeaway as far as the...
You just be saying shit, nigga.
Nah, really. I think you just reading out of like a liberal leftist playbook. Like you are just, oh my God, bro. Like I don't know what type of...
You're regurgitating Fox News talking points.
He called you Kanye West.
That's what I'm saying. That was funny.
Mike got a MAGA pullover hood here.
This dude, that was funny. Fuck you.
We're gonna wrap it up on that note. Link,
you said what's my takeaway? My takeaway is she broke the fucking rules, and people are crying, saying it shouldn't be a rule. She did it in a legal state, but it's not legal for an athlete. MMA fighters, whether white, black, or Hispanic, get banned. Boxers, wrestlers, football players. Like, come on, why are we like caping for this girl that broke the rules? It don't matter what's
Ralph is the tiebreaker. What's your take on it? Because you didn't say shit.
As far as the hair, nails, or the weed, hugging pop for the weed.
The weed.
Oh, the weed. Man, I hate to say it, but the rule is a rule. You got popped, you got caught.
But do you think we're arguing now? Should it be a rule?
I don't think it should be a rule. I don't think so. Honestly, I mean, with everything we know about it now, with all the, like you said, the recovery, it helps you heal, the CBD, and you got even Michael Phelps. Let's say if Michael Phelps didn't he get popped for weed?
Yeah, and they let him keep his medals. I think the only thing was he did lose some endorsements.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you're about to legalize the drug. It's almost what, 75, 80% of the states?
Like 70%.
Yeah. It ain't crack. Let it run track.
Yeah. I agree.
It ain't crack, let it run track. But he wasn't saying that for Josh Gordon. When Josh Gordon played for the team he plays on, got kicked out the league and blackballed because of smoking weed. Ricky Williams got kicked out for smoking weed. Now they allow it, but at the time it was a rule in the NFL that you can't smoke marijuana.
But
I don't think it's too outlandish. Certain jobs drug test.
No, I understand that.
Like,
but what
should we fight every company that wants to drug test their employees for marijuana? I'm saying, like, just because it's legal in certain states.
If at the time it was illegal, then I understand that because they broke the law at the same time. Now that it's being decriminalized, I feel like they should let everybody go that got weed charges. First of all, because the time was OD anyway.
I mean, so look, if
let the guys out, especially if it was not violent.
Again, it shouldn't be a rule, but the fact that it is, you got popped. Like, you got to own that. You got to take it on the chin. That's like you getting caught up. You in the streets, you get caught up doing something that you actually in the court talking about some judge. I think you should make trapping illegal. No. You know what I'm saying? It's just. You got
but
caught.
What I'm saying is, you got caught. You did the time for whatever. I'm talking about if niggas got locked up. But now that it's legal, let them out. They did the time when it was illegal. They're free. It was OD anyway. The time was already crazy.
Yeah,
it's legal, and you're already penalizing them because they're legally not going to be able to sell weed, which is what they're good at and what they got locked over for in the first place.
Isn't that like rootedly fucked up though? That
and racist.
What you got locked up for is legal now. Like you actually sit in the cell. You probably got 7 years on your bed, and you're like in here. Somebody like, what you in here for? What they just legalized?
Yeah.
It's like, what do you think about that, Link?
I mean, at the time, first of all, I do think that they should make it retroactive to people who, with these minor offenses, these non-violent crimes with marijuana. Right. But at the same time, like, if they did break the law while it was legal and the circumstances surrounding how they were breaking that law, because there's some egregious examples of how the law was broken, whether or not marijuana is legal or not. You know, I mean, it's an argument to be made. Let's see what happens. But I'm about to, like, it's a certain level of self accountability that people, you know, need to have. You know what I mean? Like okay, we all grew up in, you know, urban areas. Like, it's a certain point. At a certain point, you grow up fighting, and then, you know, you get your ass whooped in a fight. The trill dudes will be like, I took a L. Like, yeah, Sean got me. You know what I mean? Like, I took a L.
You got the best.
And then dudes get to, you know what I mean? They fight again, but they just have this accountability or this honesty about themselves, like, where they just owned the fact that they took a L. Like, and I think that she kind of owned it a little bit, to her credit. But the fact that you got everybody else crying for her, and not just, you know what I mean, encouraging her to do better, encouraging her to, you know, follow the rules, or, you know what I mean, like, encouraging her on speech classes or her image, like, take the L and move on. Make the L, don't make it a habit. Right. You know what I mean? Make yourself into a better person, a better athlete.
That's it. On that note, we're going to wrap up the refill. We're going to catch y'all next week. If y'all got any contrast opinions to what we talking about, leave it in the comment. See you next week. The refill. Ooh, that was a dope ass little outro right there. I didn't even script that. Link, go ahead and get your little top tickled.
Yeah, Link, niggas ain't got bail money for you, bro. Be on your best behavior.
Reggie, I'm so out of control, bro. Like bitches is liking this wild shit. Bitches want to be